Good morning, everyone. It's great to see all of you. As he just explained, I'm Sushant Mathur, and I build API products for travel tech industry. I hope all of you can hear me fine. Perfect. So my talk is about how all of us in the room, architects and builders of the APIs, can turn this interesting but somewhat deeply fragmented industry into building a seamless experience for all of us. Okay. So with that, we all love to travel. Do we have anybody in this room who doesn't like to travel? And when I say travel, I don't mean traveling in Bangalore traffic. I mean traveling in general, right? So I hope everybody loves travel. But have you ever thought about how this industry works? It's not as fancy as it sounds, right? There are a lot of moving parts. There is a lot of complexities behind the scene. And that's where APIs come into the picture. APIs solve this fragmented industry. They reduce the complexity and give us the best experience of our life when we travel with our family, with our loved ones, so on and so forth, right? So every API we design, every integration we build, I am going to talk about how it works end to end and some of the key components of this entire travel ecosystem. So every part of a traveler's journey, think about last time when you booked your flight tickets or your hotel tickets. It's not just one single interface. Behind the scene, these APIs run. They touch multiple interfaces. They touch multiple systems to give you the best air option, best hotel option, and they give you something that looks unified, but in reality, it's not. And that's what the agenda of my today's topic is. I'll start with some of the technical pain points that we have in this travel industry. That's number one. Then we'll move into the core of this talk. Deep dive into API design best practices, and we have very interesting use case so that all of you, if you are not from travel industry, you can easily relate to it, you can easily understand how it works. And finally, we also cover some of the future trends. This week, to be honest, has been phenomenal in terms of new innovation in travel tech industry with OpenAI announcing those inbuilt apps and how anybody can now build agents. And some of the biggest travel tech players are part of this ecosystem. With that, first let's talk about the basics of this travel ecosystem. As I said, travel isn't just about getting from point A to point B, right? Obviously, that's the goal, but it's not just about moving from one place to another place. It's a vast, interconnected, and complex ecosystem, deeply fragmented. There are multiple players. You have airlines, you have hotels, different systems, you have online travel agencies, you have GDSs, you have different aggregators, channel managers, so on and so forth, right? So it's very complex industry, and each of these players, they contribute a specific piece to this end-to-end traveler's journey, right? Now, what makes this entire orchestration possible? APIs, right? That's what we are going to cover today. So think about a single booking, right? Or maybe a single transaction if we talk about APIs. It touches at least 5 or more systems which are completely different. They are not talking to each other. They don't even talk the same language. And that's why API designers are forced to design APIs which are well designed, which are scalable, and also solving this entire problem of how to build APIs which will give you a seamless experience. So what are the common challenges? First one I already talked. We have multiple players. Every player has different system. These systems have different standards. They don't talk to each other. They don't even understand each other. Now think about it. How will you build APIs that can talk to these different systems which are drastically different? Right? It's not that easy. Then we also have data silos. Because these systems are different, there is no one single unified layer which can give you data that you need. We talk about personalization, we talk about retailing, but how it's all going to work if you don't have a unified way of accessing traveler's journey, understanding data points? It's not that easy. And then we also have travelers. They are looking for seamless experience. Imagine if you are making a booking and if you don't get a single place to book your air and also your hotel, or let's say if you are renting a car, your experience is not going to be that great, right? Now, despite all the challenges, as API designers, you are forced to overcome some of these technical constraints, right? we talk about some of these new API standards. But believe me, in travel, because of all these complexities, we still have systems not just on SOAP XML, but on mainframe. Think about it. You still have two different travel companies talking to each other on mainframe using Edifact. It's going to be somewhat complex. Then performance is a major constraint. If you have different systems, no single layer, different data points, how will you provide the performance which your customers expect? That's another major common pain points. Then you have rate limiting. As I said, one hotel will have 5 different interfaces to distribute the same hotel room that you want to book. Obviously, they also want to protect the system, and you also want to provide the best hotel room rate option to your travelers. It's not easy. You also have to make sure that you are avoiding duplicate bookings. Different system, accessing the same hotel room, how will you avoid duplicate bookings if you are retrying or if inventory is not available? And last but not the least, data consistency is another battle, as I already talked about it. So let's talk about how can you build thoughtful API system, how you can design APIs for both traveler and as well as for business travelers. There are multiple personas as well. So we'll take this very interesting use case, which is hotel shopping experience. Let's say this hotel, right? All of us are here. If you have to build a shopping platform where anybody can book a hotel room in Chansrai Pavilion, how is all going to work? Right? So it all starts with search API, like anything else in the world, right? When you talk about digital marketplaces. So this is where we check real-time availability. This is where we check what are the available hotel options for me if I have to book a specific room. Next, you have content APIs. You will book a room, but you also want to know more about that room, right? You want to see how that room looks like. You need more detailed, rich description to understand type of room, what is included, what is not included, so on and so forth. So that is step number 2. Step number 3, what if you require late check-in? What if you require late checkout? What if you require breakfast included as part of it? Or what if you require airport pickup or drop-off? There are so many other ancillary services that you will require when you are booking a specific room. Then loyalty, if I have a loyalty members program with this specific hotel chain, I will require those points to be added to my account, right? After that, you have booking. It looks simple, but it's not always the one-step booking process, because you just need to not confirm the reservation. You need to process different payment providers. You need to reach out to them. Everything has to be in real time, across multiple APIs, across different systems, talking completely different language. And it doesn't stop there. You also have post-booking API processes. What if you need to modify your check-in, check-out dates? What if you need something else? What if you want a complete different room altogether, or let's say you want to upgrade to a suite for whatever reasons, right? So this is how the entire workflow looks like. Now what we are going to do is we are going to talk about each of these steps one by one. I'll also add some technical details so that to this audience it will be easy for you to understand how it all works together. Okay? So before we talk about step 1, let's talk about step 0, because basics are always the same, right? So how do we design APIs that can handle all the complexities? First is you have to focus on these 3 pillars, right? One is obviously modularity. Each function, search, booking, content, ancillaries should be built as an independent service, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is, as I said, you have to think about standardization. REST, JSON, yes, these are go-to protocols, but what if the other system on the other side has something which is very legacy? You have to build adopters, you have to build wrappers on top of it. So that's number 2. Number 3, security and compliance. When we talk about travel, shopping and booking, we are talking about PCI, we are talking about GDPR, PII, so on and so forth, right? How will you make everything work together? So these are your 3 core pillars, just like any other system in the world, apply to travel as well. Now, we'll talk about step number 1, hotel search. So this is the use case. Let's say when a user searches for hotels in Paris for October 10th to October 12th, right? System needs to do a lot more than just showing you a list of all hotel options, right? Behind the scene, let's assume a RESTful call is made. But search request doesn't hit just one system, right? It has to hit multiple systems. It has to use those adapters because they play a key role in terms of translating between your modern system and somebody else's legacy systems, meanwhile maintaining the speed, reducing the complexity, adding everything on top of it as your secret sauce to give the right options to your right consumers, right? Now, what is your goal in this step? Your goal is accurate real-time availability with pricing, correct? But does it stop there? Probably not, right? Because just showing some random or even let's say not so random option is not good enough, right? You have to do as API designer, make sure that the real value is connecting the dots. Make sure that hotels or options that you are showing fit your traveler's expectation, their itinerary, their preferencing, and even maybe let's say their post-booking needs. How are you going to do it? You have to go beyond browsing or giving them the option. You have to orchestrate so that every part of your traveler journey is connected. Okay? How will you do it? Fragmentation. In fact, we were just talking about it before this session where fragmentation is the biggest challenge in travel industry. And it's everywhere, right? I have emphasized enough on different systems, different data formats. There is no interoperability. It creates silos that you have to manage on your own. APIs can act as a bridge, but what you have to do is as API designer, connect these silos. Enable these systems to talk to each other in real time. Make sure there is real-time sync. I can't show hotel options which are no longer available because inventory is booked by somebody else, some other system. You have to make sure you are taking care of all of it. With that, step number 2. So let's say I got 10 hotel options. I like the second one and I want to book this specific hotel property, right? That's the obvious step. But is that the only thing that you have to do behind the scene? Probably no. So once a traveler selects one of those search results, next step is all about giving them rich, contextual, and personalized information. Show them the right level of information. Same Sushant traveling alone on a business trip versus Sushant traveling with his family. Same person but different context. How will you take care of it? So it's no longer just about one single Sushant Mathur as a persona. You also need to bring this contextual piece to it. That's the critical step here. You have to take care of this while showing all those options. Don't show me free Wi-Fi if I am on a leisure trip with my family, but show me Wi-Fi if I am on a business trip, right? Same person, different context. Then localization is another aspect. You have to localize your content. You have to show pricing in local currency. You have to show content in that specific country's region's language. I can't show, let's say, English everywhere. Can I show maybe something local in Indonesia versus China, so on and so forth. So you also have to take care of localization. And this step, as I said, is not just about showing hotel options. It's about giving personalized offers to your customers. But is it enough? No. One size doesn't fit all. What you have to do is you have to think about most travelers, they don't just want a room. They want much more. They want flexibility. They want inclusions. They want additional add-ons. And in many hotel systems, believe me, you will get more than 50 or 60 rate options. Room with free breakfast, room with free breakfast and free internet, room with free breakfast, free internet and X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. Different combinations. What if you have 50 rates? Are you going to show me 50 rates for one specific hotel room? Probably not, right? I can't just do endless scrolling. That's for Instagram, right? Not for my hotel shopping experience. So when travelers feel in control of their choices, they are more likely to book. So what you will have to do? Again, your APIs will have to take care of giving me retailing or giving me personalized experience from generic listing to personalized curated journeys. How will you do it? Personalization. You have to do dynamic filtering. You have to do loyalty integration to give me all the right options that I can use. Now, you have done all of it. But again, now you know the trend, right? Is it enough? Probably not. What about the response time? You also have to do everything and give me hotel results which are personalized. You have to give me local content. You have to give me the best option in the best possible order within few seconds. I'm not going to wait 10 minutes or I'm not going to wait even 5-10 seconds. You have to give me everything within few seconds, 2 seconds or so. So in travel APIs, speed isn't just a technical metric, right? It's user experience altogether. You have to take care of all of it. Your APIs should be smart enough to give you good results within specific threshold that you have, and it's all about consistency. You also need to think about consistency. So when we build travel APIs, we don't just ask, does it work? What we ask is, does it work fast enough? That's what you need to understand, because if it takes more time, you are going to lose your customer. So what you do, obviously, you have to build caching. Your APIs should be able to get access from your cache. You should build cache as a service which can be used by different systems altogether. Whether you use in-memory, whether you use distributed cache, it's up to you, it's your use case. But remember, caching isn't just about speed, it's also about smart freshness. You also need to implement rules to ensure your data is not misleading your travelers, right? So the next step is price check. So once the traveler has selected a hotel and rate, you have to make sure that specific price is still valid. That specific hotel room rate is still available. That inventory hasn't gone anywhere else. You have to take care of all of it. So let's say you do this post API call. Now what you do is you are making sure that your customer, when they go to the next step, they'll get that specific rate, they get the specific inventory, right? But again, is this enough? Probably not. You also need to make sure you are adding those rules. You are looking at eligibility. You are looking at every stage where data coming from multiple sources is in sync. Because if you are booking your hotel, you are also looking at when my flight is going to reach or what else do I need to do to plan my travel better. So the last step, which is booking step, where everything comes together. They have selected the hotel, they have selected the rate, they have selected the preferencing. Booking API runs behind the scene to complete a reservation, right? But it also integrates with different payment gateways. It also has to support secure transactions. But again, as I said, is this enough? Probably not. Now is the step where you have to think about giving them better option, increasing revenue, cross-sell, upsell. Everything should be part of your end-to-end workflow. How your APIs can add value. You can build these merchandising APIs. So once a booking is confirmed, your journey is not over. You have to now think about what else can be done. Cross-selling, surfacing relevant options, room upgrades, giving them something extra that they would like to book. Everything again has to personalize. Everything again has to be dynamic. Integrate with different services and make sure you are finding real-time options. So with that, as travelers are becoming more connected and as expectation is rising, APIs are those invisible infrastructure layers that helping you making your right set of bookings, giving you the right set of options. So this was all about API workflow. Do we have some time? Yeah, perfect. Now, so far we just talked about how APIs work behind the scene. I hope all of you are clear on that end-to-end workflow. But what's next? What's happening in the travel industry? How APIs can add more and more value to this evolving ecosystem, right? So first is, we have to look at APIs beyond distribution. Right? So APIs in travel, their reach is expanding beyond search and beyond booking. Right? APIs will have to enable dynamic upselling of extras. APIs have to think about different payment options, right? In India, people now prefer UPIs, or you have a lot of local payments, buy now, pay later, so on and so forth. So you have to also make sure your booking API has support for some of these payment options. Then there is embedded travel. Now you can book your travel on Amazon.com or Flipkart.com. These are not travel apps. Your APIs should be able to support some of these non-travel tech apps to give the same experience, because you want to grab that customer's attention when you make that booking. So future of travel APIs isn't just about distribution, number one. Number two, APIs are evolving beyond booking. Next frontier is social media. Now TikTok is not just about watching reels. You can find somebody holidaying in Bali and you want to book the same exact resort. You want to do it from that specific social media app. How can you do it? Your APIs will need to deliver real-time pricing, real-time availability, loyalty, booking capabilities, everything all together embedded within social platform. What will it change? It will change your API design for sure, right? Because APIs historically were always built for systems to talk to each other. So one system, another system talking to each other. That's not the case nowadays. So you have to think about if a traveler using social media and if they want to book that specific hotel property or they want to book that specific resort, how your APIs can enable it. So you have to design APIs that will let some of these non-traditional platforms to even consume your content. So responsibility is on all of us as API designers. Last but not the least, buzzword, agentic AI. So how travel APIs should now look beyond responding. We also want our APIs to act, our APIs to support some of these platforms, and it's all about agentic AIs. So APIs from reactive, where they expect a request and then return a response, how they can go beyond, moving towards proactive APIs. So once you have designed your APIs, you need to think about how your APIs can initiate actions based on context, travel behavior, system signals, looking at those memories that you have, short-term, long-term, so on and so forth, and also taking care of agent-to-agent communication. You have to take care of all of it as API designer. With that, my last slide. So whether it's distribution, personalization, or autonomous orchestration, right? APIs are no longer just technical tools, at least for industry like travel. They connect fragmented systems, they provide real-time sync, they support two different systems to talk to each other. So the next time when you book your trip to your favorite place, remember that behind that smooth experience is a network of APIs working silently, smartly, and giving you the right set of options. With that, it was a pleasure talking to all of you. I'm Sushant Mathur, and we can take some questions if you have time.
Yes, we've got a couple of minutes for questions. Anybody?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Sushant. First of all, congratulations. I've never seen idempotency being referred to in a product pitch that has been so perfect.
Thank you.
Right? So amazing, right? You sort of get that. I guess two questions. If you can elaborate on what you believe the travel travel industry is going to do with respect to agents and AI, right? Beyond what you spoke about. And then the second part, I think, which I'm curious about is, your opinions, especially in, an environment where there's a lot of compliance, there's a lot of, security issues and whatnot, right? There's potential for leakage and so on and so forth. Your opinion on AI security or agentic security?
Sure.
Okay, so two questions.
Perfect. A great question. So to answer your first one, how do I personally see agentic AI or these agents changing the entire travel industry? So one thing is for sure, people will stop going to booking.coms and some of these OTAs to do their search. Like I have stopped using Google for my basic search questions. Most of us, we use some of these tools. So one is yes, everybody will have to now start thinking about how to provide the right content to these agents. And APIs were never designed for agents as well, right? Every API requires at least 30 to 40 parameters in the request, and response will have, let's say, 40, 50 different attributes. Agents cannot read all of it. You need to build either some adapters on top of it so that agent, just like human, can provide you the basic context, and then your API will have to now provide the response. So one thing is the way we design and distribute our content is going to be completely different now. All this complexity that I just talked will be there behind the scene, but the interface has to evolve, otherwise agents will not understand anything. So that is to answer your first question. To answer your second question, yes, travel industry in general is very heavy compliance industry. When you, let's say, complete a booking for me, you are asking for all of my personal information, you are asking for my loyalty numbers, you are asking for my address, so on and so forth. Yes, exactly. Even your passport. So technically, you are asking me for every personal detail, and that's where you have to build secure systems. That's where you have to take care of all those encryptions, data at rest, data that you are transitioning from one system to another system, even within your ecosystem, right? So yes, obviously the compliance is one aspect where security has to be part of your API design from step 0 altogether, and it should not be always when you are looking at it in the end. So yes, that also creates a lot of challenges. How will you personalize if you can't access all of my personal data easily? How will you do segmentation if I can't compare one traveler and another traveler without looking at their past data, their behavior, their search patterns, so on and so forth? So yes, I think security and compliance is something which we have to always manage and deal. But again, that has to be part of your initial design. That has to be part of your entire segmentation and profiling process.
Thanks, Sushant.
Sure.
Sushant, we are out of time. So if you don't mind, we'll take some questions offline after the conversation.
Perfect.
Thank you, Sushant.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.